壮大なドラマ。Final Fantasy III.
Okay, Dad, I just want to finish this game. Okay, Dad, I'm coming. Yeah, I'm almost at the end. What happened to summer?
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Game Boy.
It ain't over till it's over.
Chill out, Dad.
Okay, kid, show me what you got. Yeah, right. Next. Yes. Next. Ooh, scary. Next. 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 Next.
Final Fantasy III. Do you have what it takes? Final Fantasy III from Squaresoft.
Next.
チョコボ今行くぞスーパーファミコンで登場ファイナルファンタジー5スクエア桁違いのすごさだぜファイナルファンタジー5スーパーファミコンで好評発売中
ファイナルファンタジー携帯機完全移植計画ファイナルファンタジー4アドバンス純度が研ぎ澄まされていくファイナルファンタジー4アドバンス
夢じゃないファイナルファンタジー64月2日スーパーファミコンで発売スクエア夢じゃないスーパーファミコンソフトファイナルファンタジー6スクエ
あ、ロックやっと会えたファイナルファンタジー携帯機完全移植計画いよいよクライマックスへファイナルファンタジー6アドバンスファイネストボックス当たるこのドラマ忘れない
Final Fantasy II for WonderSwan color.
WonderSwan! My name is Marche. I am a warrior in a land called Ivalice. Can you please help me destroy the crystals so I can leave?
You may call me Ritz, but you may not use my sword, spells, or magic without asking. They are dangerous. If you call, I'll explain.
Mute is my name. Feel free to call. Otherwise, I may become irritable.
The people of Ivalice are standing by to talk about Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, only on Game Boy Advance. Rated E for everyone.
Game Boy.
To inscribe into history. To inscribe into the soul. Final Fantasy Tactics.
50年戦争の後、大国エバリースにおいて獅子戦争、フザーリア、ザルテーニア、400種類に及ぶアビリティがゲームに出るぞ
ファイナルファンタジータクティクス、コンビニで
この辺も押さえとけ
デジキューブ
一冊の本から始まる一生忘れない物語ファイナルファンタジータクティクス A2 風穴のグリモア
crystals to expel the mist that poisons your world. Battle alone or with friends by connecting up to 4 Game Boy Advance systems. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Only for Nintendo GameCube. Rated T for...
この夏、新しいファイナルファンタジー。そっちじゃない。あれ？危ない。邪魔します。よし、じゃあ行くぞ。じゃあ一緒に。この子にギャル。この子にギャル。よし、行くぞ。せーの。ファイヤー。新しいタイプのファイナルファンタジー。
Before you begin,
All right, yes, so we are back. It is Nerd 30, and the Omega Level Nerds are streaming once again. Thank you, everyone who has joined us and will join us in the future. As you can see, I'm here, D Square. We've got Jelly Rose, J100, Volsker, and a special guest, good friend, JD Oliva, author, wrestling and, amateur wrestling commentator, all around, just nerdy guy, co-host of Superhero Speak. Hey, we're about that life here. So, JD, welcome. Thank you very much. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you got some stuff going on, and you're always interesting to have on, so anytime. So tell us, before we get into this week's Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode, before we talk about that, let's talk about what you got going on, JD. So what you got going on?
On Monday, I'm watching another Kickstarter for a brand new novel. It's called Sundown. It's book 5 in my Books of Jericho series. It's this time it's a vampire supernatural thriller story, and it's a lot of fun. We had a lot of success with the Harvest Moon Kickstarter last fall, and for the business, I'm thinking about doing these once every quarter from now on. So I've got a nice little backlog of stuff where I can just kind of keep putting this stuff out every couple of months. And yeah, man, I'm excited. Looking forward to launching the new Kickstarter, getting some more work out there. We've got now at the top of this book, I've got like 3 or 4 short stories that are going to be used as to kind of reduce the wheels a little bit, get more people involved, get more people active, and might have a couple of little stretch goal surprises. So I'm excited. I love writing. I love talking about nerd stuff. I love talking about everything.
Yeah, definitely. And I can attest, if you haven't heard this from me before, I've actually, read a couple of JD's books. Last one I read was Apex. They're real quick reads, and what I mean by that is I can usually do them in a day or so, and not because they're super short, but really interesting stuff that and it's just easy to read. He does a great job, JD. So absolutely.
I pride myself on being digestible as an author. I like to write stuff that you can knock out pretty quickly.
Yeah, and because it just gets you excited, for the next one, and so on and so forth. So awesome stuff. Well, with this new Kickstarter going on, someone that's I read Conspiracy Theory, I read Apex. You said this time it's a vampire. So what can you tell us?
This is going to be books. So you've read Conspiracy Theory, which was the old initial start to the Books of Jericho. I actually rewrote that one. The book is now called The Book of Jericho. I boosted that book up. So if you're interested, if anyone who's never read anything, it's real simple. Jump on the Kickstarter, and that one's $1. So you get a full novel for $1, and the other 5 are available right there. The most expensive one is, of course, the brand new one because I'm trying to generate business to it. But they're really easy to pick up. Like this is the 5th book in that series. Apex is something separate. I'm actually going to retackle that series. They didn't do very well, quite frankly. New titles, new covers, re-editing, and launch those as a separate one probably in the summertime. But yeah, this is supernatural thriller. This is what if John Wick worked the X-Files?
Yeah.
And it's an assassin who gets hired to do more kind of fixer work, and he finds himself kind of always aligned against these supernatural threats. And this time around, he's got to deal with a coven of vampires that are actually existing today as a multi-level marketing scam. So they're marketing a health food supplement, and it takes place at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. And this was a lot of fun to write. This is actually the longest book I've ever written. It's twice as long as Harvest Moon, and not because I'm padding it. I turned out I had a lot of things to say about vampires and multi-level marketing. Like I surprised myself. So, but I got the reviews back already from my advanced readers, and they all really liked it. My editor said it's the best book I've written. So I'm really excited for this one. So I'm super pumped.
You gotta have. I mean, this is a joke, so don't do this. But this is a joke. But like, you have to have a line in there where the guy's like, "That's right, Amway, Am Square."
Oh, I wish I had. That's a pretty funny line, actually. But yeah, it's good, and we got some cool stuff going on. Where one thing that was really popular last time is I said, oh, give me $250, you could be a victim in the novel, and I sold 3 of those. So I was like, all right, I'm bringing that back. My co-host on Superhero Speak, John O'Grady, got super into that, and he wants to be killed again. So I'm like, hey man, as long as you're willing to pony it up, I'll keep on killing you. So that's fun. So it gives you an
Amway Corporation brought him back to life.
It'd be a different guy with the same name and the same exact description. So yeah, it's fun. These are really fun books to write. I enjoyed the subject matter. I've got probably 3 more in me with this character. It happens.
Yeah. All right.
Prepaid legal is coming for your brain.
That's so funny because I've sold prepaid. I've been in the whole the multi-tier marketing pyramid scheme.
I worked for Ambit.
Yeah.
I sold Ambit Energy after college, but it was a waste of my time, energy, and life. So that kind of was one of the inspirations for doing this.
I'm Cutco Knives Man.
I bought Cutco knives, so I'm
about to say you're hitting all of them.
Listen. They will cut the shit out of shit, but I'm not about to pay no $350 for no goddamn set. Okay.
I was trying to help a friend from high school, and we bought 1 steak knife, and I managed to make sure that I use that steak knife every opportunity I get because it's insanely expensive. But it cuts the shit out of everything. Yeah, right. It's the best thing I own.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this turned into a Cutco commercial, but like I also sold them for a short time, and you had to buy the whole set, and I ponied up for the whole set, and then obviously after about 2 weeks, I was like, okay, this is stupid, and I ended up giving them to my parents, and they still use them. They still,
I mean, they work. Like, I don't think anything in this book is going to be quite that effective, but I mean, it's a fun story, man.
Acai berry juice. Yeah, listen, I've tried to make some. I tried to make some money in my life, and it seems that multi-level marketing schemes always hit me up. So I'm familiar.
So I can imagine. That's really interesting. So hook vampires into that, and then that's awesome. All right, good stuff. Well, here's some other, and I know we really don't talk about wrestling here on the Omega Level Nerds, but truth be told, Volsker is a big wrestling fan. I once was. You, of course, JD, you coach amateur, wrestling, as well as you're big into my parents
pro wrestling,
big time.
My other job, I work for Fight Game Media. I write like thought pieces on it, and I buy 3 different wrestling podcasts on their Patreon network. So I watch a lot of mostly Japanese pro wrestling.
Nice.
Yeah. So and Volsker, jump in here too. The last WrestleMania is probably the first WrestleMania I didn't watch. As much as I'm disconnected from WWE, I would at least usually watch, especially with the streaming service, just check out WrestleMania. This year I didn't. I noticed it was 2 days this time, and was just, I don't know, what did you think?
I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
don't cover WWE for the website. I cover AEW, I cover New Japan, I cover Pro Wrestling Noah and Dragon Gate. So those are the promotions that I pay attention to. I'm not a fan of WWE. I don't care for it. So I'm never like, people ask, oh, what do you think of WrestleMania? And I'm always like,
yep.
I can tell you about Mitsuharu Misawa for hours. Like I can talk about Kazuchika Okada, but I can't.
Are you there?
I love streaming technology.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a little blip there. I don't know how at 400 megabits.
To get caught up again.
Yeah. 400 megabits, it should be pretty good there. But more technical difficulties aside. So you're doing the Fight Game Media, and then lastly, I just have to comment, I did the Snyder Cut watch with Superhero Speak.
We did.
Which was really fun. And not sure if you know, but on just this podcast alone, you had me, Volsker, and Jay ready to hate the thing. And we all watch it, and we're like, hey, this is, cut out the last half hour, and we're good to go. So I just want to make mention that you two were all primed and ready to go, as we're watching it.
I prepped jokes that I wasn't able to use because I just really got into the movie. To the last half hour, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it was such a better film than I was expecting, and it was such a better film than we got the first time around that maybe my expectations were so far lowered that I was like, okay, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Like, and I liked it. Like, it was fun. Like, the last half hour is painful, but it was I just wanted it to end. But like, I liked it. It's a good movie. I don't think I'll give 4 hours of my life to watching it again, but it was fine.
You don't want to watch the black and white version now?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I've seen it 3 times, and even I'm going to stop at the black and white. I'm good. I'm good with that.
That's 12 hours. That's a lot of time.
It's a Lord of the Rings.
I don't know what to tell you. I like it. I don't know. Just the small things that they changed, I'm really into.
I mean, it's good. Yeah. It's outside the letter.
Yes. I did a write-up for one of the sites I write for talking about the movie. And I think it's unfair in some ways to compare the Snyder Cut to the Joss Whedon movie, because we weren't going to get a 4-hour version of that movie. Like, in a Zack Snyder's movie had been released 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, it wouldn't be the same because they weren't going to put that thing out all of the slow motion, which again, in the context, works fine. But they wouldn't quite have done that. And this movie does have the benefit of hindsight because they got to see what didn't work both times around and they made it better. So, I mean, I'm all for that too. I think you should keep working on something until you're happy with it. I didn't have a problem with George Lucas going back and tweaking his movies. They're his movies. Yeah. So whatever makes my viewing experience better, I'm all for. I think it's just hard. I think it's unfair to compare the two of them in terms of, well, look what they were able to do versus what they were able. Look what this was able to this time around. When I saw one shot where there's comparing the Wonder Woman sequence in the bank, where they're doing side by side editing. Mm-hmm. It's it's twice as long and it is twice as good, but you don't release 4-hour action movies to the theaters. We're in very unique circumstances where you could get away with that, and I'm glad it's they figured out a way to release a movie on a new platform to people that really wanted to see it. And, I didn't have to leave my house and sit in a different chair for 4 hours. I got to do it in my office right here with you guys and it was fun. So it's a different kind of viewing experience. And, on the whole, I liked it.
I agree with you there, JD. One thing, though, we know from Snyder's kind of repertoire, it would have been probably a 2.5 hour movie. Then
for sure.
4 different cuts, just like Watchmen.
Yeah, that's true. But those don't count, right? Like every time a director's cut gets released to DVD, it does. Yeah, it just but it's not the movie that everyone goes to see at the theater. Yeah. In my mind, that's the canonical version of the movie is the one that gets the theatrical release. Because most times director's versions are better.
Yeah.
But again, we weren't going to quite get that in the theater.
Would have stepped in and told him he had to cut it down.
Yeah, and luckily now we're living in the post-apocalyptic world where there is no studios. They're just trying to struggle to survive.
I think they should just do, if they don't want to theatrically do it, just do the Snyderverse, bring it back and do it as a HBO Max. I guarantee you they would have subs.
See, that's the thing is I don't think we're going to get the I think Warner's ready to kind of be with all that. And I think he is too. But they're going to take the elements of that universe and kind of keep it going, because I mean, it's not like they're going to restart Wonder Woman and Shazam. They just started shooting Black Adam. So I mean, they all really take place in the same universe. It's not going to go quite the direction he had in mind. And based on the last half hour, I'm okay with that.
Well, he also just signed a huge ass deal with Netflix where he's doing the new zombie franchise that he's doing, which actually looks pretty sweet. That has Batista as the lead.
I like that. I like Dawn of the Dead. Like his Dawn of the Dead remake is pretty fun. So if he's got more of that in him, great. I've seen him with superheroes. I'd like to see him do something else now.
It's like it's half heist film, half zombie film.
Love that.
So it's actually really cool. You should check out the trailer.
It sounds like because I like the genre mashups. That's kind of what I do with a lot of my stuff. So I'm into it.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds cool.
Good stuff.
Batman sucks. So
yeah.
I remember this from the last time I was on the show. Yes, I know you're anti-Batman.
Robert Pattinson, yeah, that movie's going to
very.
As long as somebody shoots that guy in the face, I'm indifferent. Although I did like the Snyder Cut. It made me go back and because I never really understood the Snyder verse so far. Like I didn't understand that Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and what was supposed to be Justice League was the Snyderverse. I didn't, because I don't care about DC. So now that I kind of understood it, before the Snyder Cut came out, I watched Batman vs Superman and the original Justice League, and I was like, I hate you guys for making me do that to myself. But then now that the Snyder Cut is out, Batman vs Superman has a completely different context, and that it makes that movie better.
I still don't like that movie, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's trash. It's terrible. Like it gives it. So, but that's my point. My point is Batman sucks. That whole movie is Batman being the worst.
Oh, you're
detective
100%
ever.
right. In that particular movie, Batman is awful. Yes, it's
the worst. But that Batman is every time I see Batman, that's what it is. So it was like, oh, this is just like every Batman movie put together in one. All right, cool. Like, you see how trash he is. But then but like I said, when you put the Snyderverse into it, the Snyder Cut into it, realize that he realizes that he messed up. I mean, he realized that he messed up in the original Justice League, but it was just like, I messed up, and then like that was it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't really like a whole movie, 4-hour movie where the dude is like trying to repent for the shitty detective work for the last movie or whatever.
So no, I agree. I like the character arc way better in this movie than in the previous, because it feels like he's making up for being a shitty superhero.
And it makes me want to see like a Batfleck, get shot in his face. That's what it needs to happen in the last scene of any Ben Affleck Batman, or actually any Batman movie ever. It needs to happen is either I'm sorry for this is a Titan spoiler, but they're on season 3, so get off my nuts. When Dick Grayson, breaks his neck with his foot, that needs to happen every time, or he gets shot in the face. One of the two needs to happen, or it's not a true Batman film to me.
I just want Deathstroke versus Batman. Like that's probably the second complaint, is that with that cliffhanger at the end of the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Just that should have gone into the Batfleck film, and that pisses me off that we're not getting it.
What should have gone in the Batfleck film, you're saying?
Where they changed it, because remember in Whedon's cut, it was, hey, Deathstroke, I'm building
League of Our Own. Yeah.
Hey, it's Bruce Wayne, go kill him. Batfleck's film was actually the movie about him versus Deathstroke.
Yeah, I'd have gotten into that. That'd
we're getting
sweet.
Yeah, we're getting robbed. Yeah.
There's
Sparkle Batman.
Yeah. I want to see the Robert Pattinson more of that before I make a judgment call on it. I'm kind of ambivalent toward it at the moment. I'm kind of like, see what happens.
Well, I think the fact that it's an Earth 2 Batman is going to give him a lot of breathing room, or at least I think that's what they're going for. So it's not the.
They had to do it in the beginning. It's like Earth 2, where bitch ass whiny superheroes are more bitch ass and whiny.
That is going to be so hard to like That's going to be a tough sell, I think, for people.
Yeah.
This is a different universe, Batman. This Batman's over
Right.
here, but this Batman's over here. Like in comics, that works because you kind of know what you're getting going in, right?
Yeah.
But with normal people, I don't know if that's going to work quite as well. We're going to find out.
It's like nobody at all. Robert Pattinson. I'm Batman. I sparkle like the sun.
God.
And I won't work out.
Yeah, I didn't know. I prefer my Batman to at least doing some push-ups. Like,
Yeah, do
like
some
you-
push-ups, bro. Over here sparkling in the sun and shit.
He'll be wiry.
Oh, diamond skin ass.
Nothing wrong with being able to flick your hair.
Well, I mean, coming from somebody that Batman shouldn't have that emo look where
You figure it'd be hard to wear the mask with all that hair. I'll give you
But
that.
then you know what though? I will say that Robert Pattinson Batman is a little more believable than Titans Batman.
No, I haven't watched Titans.
I never watched Titans.
It's a good show, but bad Batman. Because
Can it be worse than Gotham's Batman at the end, where the suit didn't even fit and it was all like flabby?
I don't even know what that looks like. I'm about to look it up.
Best Batman
Gotham was-
is Teen
Oh.
Titans Go Batman because he's just doing shenanigans and laughing at people.
I do like. I like Teen Titans Go Batman. I like Teen Titans Go. That's a fun show.
Of course, I'm one of the
I'm about to
boomers
look it up
that
right now.
whine about wanting the original back, but yeah, Cartoon Network isn't for me.
That Teen Titans Go
Sure.
movie was awesome. I'll say
was
that. It was funny.
Fantastic. It was fantastic. I loved it. We watched it because I got the 5-year-old. At the time, he was a 4-year-old,
Yeah.
and I just laughed the whole time. I couldn't believe how entertained I was. It's so silly. Like as long as you don't take it seriously, it's so
Right.
much fun.
So silly. Very
I'll-
silly.
I'll have to put that in front of the kids and see if she cooks there. All right.
Yeah,
well,
like-
listen.
I mean, Michael
the
Keaton, I guess, because that Batman is.
yeah, it looked pretty bad. So the penultimate issue. I always say issue episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier of the one
I
and
mean, it's
only
comic
season.
stuff.
Yeah,
forgivable.
yeah, it really is. It's just ingrained in me. But so we got the number 5 episode, the penultimate. We've only got one episode left. This show, although very different from Wanda, I'm glad we learned a lesson about speculating. I like this being as straightforward as it is. And the biggest thing, spoiler alerts, guys, on the stream. Spoiler alerts. We're gonna spoil it like a rotten egg here. So the biggest thing to me in this episode is obviously this is the aftermath of John Walker as Captain America killing someone in cold blood with, cameras everywhere. And following through on that conclusion, he gets discharged. And after he gets discharged, for those of you that don't know, I know she gives this whole long name, and that's very interesting. But Madam Hydra walks up to him, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, which really works, actually. I'm really digging that.
I made
just a
that
short...
At that same point, yeah.
Yeah. Really cool scene. It's not very long, but it really sets a tone for that character that I think I'm going to enjoy.
She played Walker's wife too with that blank card. She's
Yeah.
like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. She's like, but I like the fact though also that they use her to explain the fact that like the shield is not actually government property. I thought that was cool. But I don't know. So in the comics, she goes from Hydra to going underground with Nick Fury. So, I mean, she's not a straight baddie. Really kind of a deep cut. Not a popular character at all. Someone that disappeared for a long time. I know Hickman's Avengers run brought her up a little bit more, but, she could be in Sword. I don't know. But that is Madam Hydra, for those of you that were not aware. And we don't know what role she'll play. But again, I'm just thinking like, man, her and Samuel L. Jackson is probably going to have some cool scenes coming up at some point. And that's, and I don't know, it just works. So very, very surprised that Madam Hydra, I think they're basically, so this episode was like, I don't know, I got thunderbolts from it, you know, with Zemo, Zemo going to the Dora Milaje, who then take him to the raft. So I didn't quite understand that, but nonetheless, he's going to the raft, which is Thunderbolt Ross's personal cage, who is the Red Hulk, for those who don't know, in the Thunderbolts. So that was really cool. But to me, and I think JD, it was you who said you like the episode with the training montage. You wanted better music during Sam Wilson's training montage.
I just wanted a pop song of some sort in a training montage, because it makes a training montage. It kind of makes a training montage stand out a little bit. Like if they're going full Rocky, go full Rocky. Like it was not my Ryan Tiger, but something like that. I really liked the scene. I really liked what it meant to the character. I liked everything about it. I just make it a joke.
Yeah. What did you think of, and I don't want to gloss over it, but it did happen during the beginning of the episode, basically the fight for the shield between, you know, Bucky, Falcon, and John Walker.
So this show has this formula where we'll start off with these big action set pieces, and then it kind of lulls down into a lot of character moments. And I don't know about every week, but most of the episodes that give you the really, really big bombastic action sequence. That first episode where they're doing the chase through midair is fantastic. Yeah. I really liked this. I really liked this sequence because it felt like John Walker was really unhinged, right? And we really got to see both Bucky and Sam really have their moments as a potential Captain America. And in the end, because it is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they have to work together to stop this John Walker who's really lost it, you know. Wyatt Russell has done such a great job playing John Walker. People legitimately hate him. Like they've completely forgotten that he's an actor, and they're like, "Yeah, man, this dude, he sucks," you know. And it stuns me. Yeah, I mean that it's crazy to think that an actor playing a role, you know, especially a guy who's, you know, the child of you know Hollywood royalty, basically, you know, is in this spot. And I didn't even realize it was him until about week 3. Right? So I mean, he's done such a good job of making a character that's sympathetic and understandable, but like at the end of the day, hateable. Like when you're creating a good villain, you want someone that has motivations that you can kind of go, okay, I see where you're coming from, but what you've chosen to do is wrong. Yeah. That makes for a compelling villain. And he's done such a great job of doing that, to the point where there are media outlets that are going like, how can they do this to an American veteran? It's like, well, it's fiction. You know, we're making this up as we go along. Right. So, you know, nothing is sacred. Right. But I mean, like, again, that just, you put that out to his performance. Wyatt Russell has captured this, and that fight sequence was fantastic. And I love the significant moment of I always want to call him U.S. Agent, of that Captain America ripping Falcon's wings off, right? Because he's not going to be Falcon anymore. He's going to be Captain America. So I mean, there was just so much like great poetry done with the cinematography. I love this show. It's so good.
Yeah, it truly is. And of course it has a lot of social commentary to it, particularly with Isaiah Bradley and how he was treated.
I want more of him. I'm just going to say it now.
Absolutely.
Like, I would love for them to go back and do a film of him going through, because he deserves that character's awesome.
Well, the reason why I don't think that's going to happen is actually because of the name of this episode is Truth, which is actually the story arc that involved him. I think they're more setting up him, not only for what he's doing in this show, showing us how a black man who the serum worked on was treated, versus John Walker, who just got discharged and ultimately like, okay, you're not Captain America anymore. You're not in the army anymore. You can go off and do your own thing. And then, of course, the contrast of what Isaiah Bradley went through. Which, although that does kind of make you think that John Walker has a point when he's like, you made me. And you're like, you know what? He's right. You know, our government, you know, in the show, made him. Just like they made Isaiah Bradley. But again, obviously,
think about it though, is that really too off? Like, obviously, outside of J100, we haven't been in the military, but there are secret ops and shit that end up that way. Like, it's not unbelievable. And that's what's crazy about this show is everything that they're piecing together with what's going on in society. Walker just losing his shit. Like, it is absolutely something that has happened, obviously minus the super abilities, and will continue to happen one way or another.
What I love about good fiction is that it is metaphorical. Like we deal with like real issues and real stuff with history, but you candy coat it with all the bells and whistles of, like, in this case, superhero-dom, and it makes it kind of makes teaching a lesson or learning something or understanding the problems of the world we live in a little bit more digestible for some people. Like, if we can, like a book like Truth, like that, I didn't know about the Tuskegee experiments until I read Truth. Right? Like, I went out and I read something about it after I read that book, because I think I was a teenager when I read that, and I was shocked. I'm like, this can't be based in reality, because again, you grew up sheltered in the suburbs. You don't learn a whole lot about what really happens. Right. And so I like when good art can point me to learning a bit more about the world we live in. And this show does a pretty good job of it. Like, it does like I said, in a palpable way that's digestible for the masses. It does a good job of making people ask questions, or at least it should.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I need to go back and watch this with kind of like more director eyes, or like just more analytically than just trying to be a part of the story, to talk about on the show. And I'm going through a lot of other anime and stuff like that right now. So I have the time to do this. I just haven't yet, because as the show is getting deeper, it's still pissing me off. But I just like you're saying, JD, like it is palatable and digestible. The issue, I don't mean to say the issue, but that's the word I'm going to use. The issue that I have with this plot so far is it's kind of the issue that I have with, like, our real world right now, where, and I said this last episode, what are the Flag Smashers doing that are wrong? Like, that's wrong. I still haven't figured out or pinpointed anything that they've done that deserves this treatment, animosity, and even terrorism tag. Like, honestly, I don't see, besides them becoming super soldiers, I don't see where this terrorism is coming from. Number one. Number two, then when you juxtapose John Walker versus, I guess, Sam, all right, because Bucky is kind of just like an in-between, like he's always been. But, like, so when you juxtapose John Walker and Sam Wilson, that makes me uncomfortable too. I mean, that actually kind of makes me uncomfortable the most. I've never really liked Sam. I don't like Captain America, just the archetype in general, for the same reason why Isaiah Bradley don't want to be out to light. That's literally the reason why I can't stand Captain America. Like, that in and of itself is what he explained is why I can't stand the character, and I've never liked the character. I mean, I get it, Steve Rogers, but, like, get the fuck out of my face. So, to me, Sam is just this, like, this is the acceptable Negro. You know what I mean? Like, trope. And that kind of makes me upset too, or whatnot, whatever. You're just gonna go right back to? You're just gonna just, like, go right back into the fold. And that, it just makes me sick, because being someone who's been court-martialed, being someone who's had to sit in front of, like, a military tribunal of people judging you off of shit that they've trained you to do, but then they're like, no, we don't like this. Like, I go back and forth between understanding John Walker and then hating him at the same time. But then at the same time, I'm like, why is anybody trusting and dealing with these people? Like, why? Like, the whole point of the Avengers is like fuck these guys. The whole point of Wakanda is like fuck these guys. But then we just the whole the to me, plot of this show is to stop the flag smashers because that's what's going to make peace in the world. And I don't know about you, but I've out of everything that I've seen from any blip it's been done, whether it's been in Spider-Man, whether it's been done in Endgame, whether it's been done in WandaVision, whether it's been done in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, has been some fucking chaos that these motherfuckers clearly can't handle because they just want shit to go back to the way it used to be. Why are we just like, yeah, we want to be on the GRC side? I'm sorry, but Carly makes every single point that needs to be made, like socially. We want to talk about social commentary. What the flag smashers are talking about to me is literally like it. Like, so we got to be human. When half the population was gone. Then now that these people are back, we're going straight back to,
get out of
nation
here
states and fighting and war. Yeah, like
remember even Sam
don't see anything
told
wrong.
her, I agree with what you're doing. I just don't agree with how you're going about it.
Yeah, I don't think she's
But
going to
that's
end
what
up
I'm.
being
That's
a
my whole
villain.
point. That scene right there made me sick because what are they doing? What did they did? The only
Other
thing that
than a
they've
murder.
actually done. But okay, oh sure, but that murder was only when you count the bodies that they have. It's only 3. They got 3 bodies. 3. How many bodies have the GRC displaced? Millions at this point.
And I mean,
So
that even
who's
goes
the
back to
terrorist?
JD's point where you feel for what she's doing. You might just not necessarily agree with everything.
Yeah, I
So
don't-
that's why.
That's my one critique on this show that I haven't liked is I don't think because I agree with what Joe 100 is saying. Like I've had a hard time trying to think of, okay, like you created a sympathetic villain, but have we created a villain that's too sympathetic and too correct?
Yeah.
Where I'm having a hard time being like, okay, because until they started killing people, which they have killed some people on the show, and yeah, it's a step too far, and she's taken. It feels like they've written her and they've written dialogue specifically to take her a step too far. Like I have a hard time with I agree with this of trying to justify exactly because I'm still trying to figure out what exactly the GRMC is supposed to be doing, like, and what exactly the flag. It doesn't. There's some holes in this story that I'm not just logistically not clicking with, and I'll be honest, the character work in this is taking me across the finish line in a lot of these cases because when I've written about it and I'm trying to put it together, there are some gaping holes in the logic of the series because I'm trying to figure out why are they the enemy? Before they killed anybody, why were the flag smashers, other than calling themselves flag smashers, clearly, why are they the enemy specifically until they take that next step? And it's okay, yeah, but this it's very unclear. What is if they just set up some kind of major crime or something, then we could have been okay, their actions are justified, but I just don't think the but is big enough yet. I feel like they're really leaning hard into this, quite frankly, right wing. Anything against this is wrong, and it's
Because they were just protesters at the beginning, weren't
yeah,
they?
and it doesn't feel right to me in a lot of ways. But they've done some work toward it, and I'm kind of the mind that everyone on this show is a little gray, with the exception of Sam, who's the most pure character on the show. I think that's supposed to be what they're going for, where everyone's a little right, everyone's a little wrong. But sometimes when you're trying to think about the show, it makes it feel a little muddled at times. So I understand 100% of what you're saying.
This show is definitely about how much better Sam is than everybody else. And this episode really drove that home because even though he was given the shield back, he was given a new suit from Wakanda, which what I love about this episode is it establishes that no one has the right to take the shield from him, and his new suit belongs to him because he got it from Wakanda. So out of this series, Sam Wilson's going to come out free and clear. But despite all that, he's working his ass off, trying to be better. The scene that he had with his sister, I swear they must be brother and sister in real life. I swear that if you told me that, I would certainly believe you because that actress is just killing it as far as how a sister would act in that situation. And then to talk about how Sam's always trying to work on the world's problems and the problems here at home. And yeah, he is more Captain America than even Bucky, certainly more than John Walker or anybody else. And so, Jay, when you kind of give me your perspective, that's interesting because, me coming from my perspective, I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, that's so cool that, a black man is clearly going to be Captain America here. He's got his two nephews and they're playing with the shield. And so in their lives, like, oh, look, we can be Captain America. And I generally feel very positive about it. But again, that's my perspective.
The line that's super powerful to me is when Isaiah said, no self-respecting black man should pick up the shield.
I knew that would resonate with you.
And I said, oh. It's like, I was watching, I was like, my girlfriend can't even tell you. I was just, well, because it's kind of like, it's kind of my point overall at the end of the day. Like, it's Isaiah's testimony of his time period is a lot of things, especially historically. So they I forgot the doctor in the first Captain America, but that doctor sees this guy. He's just the Steve Rogers archetype, right?
Yeah.
And then what you see after that is basically like all the history that I read, where black people are guinea pig experiments. They don't even know half the time. They're guinea pig experiments. And then after, if anyone survives the guinea pig experiment, now you're, ostracized or you're imprisoned or you don't get to, like, there's just so many historical, I guess landmarks that you can follow that make Isaiah Bradley such a relatable character, whether it be someone who's lived during that time period or someone who knows the history like myself. So, I mean, it's that the part that's tough for me is that now, in order for this show to work, right, Sam's got to be this middle ground go-between. And that's what, for me personally, I understand how everyone else, is just looking at this like, we got a new Captain America, another new Captain America, and everything is right, back to where it's supposed to be, blah 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 blah. But like, this is, it's uncomfortable for me personally, because like you were saying, JD, you had to read about the Tuskegee experiments. Well, if you already knew about that shit and watch this episode, like, it's hit you in a different type of way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for Sam to sit there and say, or his sister, are you gonna listen to what that man said? Blah 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 blah. Like, I was doing this at the end of the episode. Like, oh man, what do you mean? Are you gonna sit there and listen? Did you not hear what this motherfucker said to you? Like, you just gonna go in the middle and be in between all this shit? Like, they're like. He's telling you they're never going to agree with you. They showed you that he's never going to agree with you. And then, and this is my whole thing about Sam Wilson ever since the beginning. You're going to be in the middle, like, but I'm going to try anyway. Okay. All right.
I think it's more of a prove them wrong, like change what people think.
Yeah, I tried to do that on Twitch, and we see how that worked. So, so this is for me. The thing that's keeping me going, even though I'm very uncomfortable, is how they play this out, not only in this show, because as if we watch anything Marvel, since we've seen the first 3 phases or whatever, everything is supposed to connect to something bigger. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, because, I'm not a real big fan of Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm not going to be here. I'm like, I don't like the way they did Sam, because I know how they're going to, I have a feeling I understand how they're going to do Sam. But what they're going to end up probably doing is put him in an even bigger dilemma and predicament deeper into the story. So, I'm trying to just let it be what it is and do my advice for Star Wars. Just let the story be what it is. But it is making me uncomfortable. And the only, I guess, vocalization that I have of that is, during like a analyzation that we're doing kind of like right now. I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to keep it what it is. But if you ask for my opinion on it, and I'm supposed to give my thoughts, well, my thoughts are, this shit's make me uncomfortable. And I just hope that they pay this off in a major way.
That makes 100%. That makes sense.
Needs this to me, and this is my opinion. Yeah, I think this really shines light on how a lot of fucking people think in the world right now, and it's not right. I'm not saying that. I'm just people need to open their eyes and see that this is a common day occurrence.
I mean, and not to bring it up, but it kind of just parallels what we're talking about. You know, I used to have this fun thing that I used to do because I mean I still I guess kind of do, but like I used to drink a lot, and I used to go to these dive bars, especially in Parma, Ohio, and just sit there and wait for some shit to pop off conversationally, and then and for whatever reason, maybe it's my initial tone and my articulation. Everybody, this group of guys think that like I'm gonna be the black guy that it says everything that they want to hear, but what I'm saying is the Colin Kaepernick situation where this was so egregious to people years ago, so egregious that this man would disrespect the troops even though he never even said that shit at all, and like, oh, this is terrible, to the point where now you're seeing the police disrespecting the troops on camera. And so what do you guys say about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when it comes to a situation like even in this comic world where oh, this Captain America killed somebody, but his commendations save him. Isaiah Bradley's didn't.
Right.
What do you mean? Like, he literally was given. John Walker gave himself the super soldier serum. You gave Isaiah Bradley and unnamed others, this serum, and then made them killed most of them, but then like made them enemies of the state afterwards.
And they
you know
didn't
what I mean?
know.
So
Remember what he said is they were just out in the field, and then stuff started happening.
Right. He was the only one that kind of figured out what was going on.
Does the government even know that Walker took? I mean, I know that Madam Hydra knows, but does the military?
I don't know if they know. They never tell us. I don't know why they would think that. There's no reason to think that, but if you watch the actions, you kind of can't not know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was, I don't know, it just, what you said reminded me there, John, of like, yeah, wait, do they even know? Outside of
all the drug marks were gone when he was getting in court.
Yeah.
He hit them heroin needles pretty well in them toes.
Oh boy. But yeah, no, powerful stuff.
Turned?
Is he gonna get what?
Get the power? Do you think Sam will end up, because remember, he has technical powers in the comics.
No.
Yeah, no, they won't go that. I mean, what his thing now will be, obviously outside of the training montage, is, that he now has a Wakandan suit. I mean, it's not a full-blown suit, but I mean,
it could be powered some like the Black Panther suit.
I mean, I don't think John Walker will be able to rip.
Yeah, but even Black Panther had the purple-shaped heart, or herb, or the heart-shaped herb.
He had it started with a B.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it either.
Bass?
Well, that's the god. That's the god that led the original Black Panther to the heart-shaped flower. The
flower.
The power.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't mind Sam getting the super soldier serum, because it was just like, what Lamar said before he died was, power is just making an extension of who you are, and that just goes to show you that John Walker was a head case in the first place. But
and why Rogers was, when he, even with the power, he was who he was, because he was a nobody and he always put his life at risk for people. Like,
he was All Might, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, powerful stuff. All the way around. Really, really powerful stuff. And to me though, I'm just loving I'm loving Sam Wilson. I can't wait to see the Sam Wilson Captain America. And yeah, we got one.
I want more Bucky.
Well, you'll get more. But I know the Avengers I'm reading right now. Bucky is running around as Captain America, and of course Steve Rogers is there, but it's just Steve Rogers. But anyway, it's cool.
If we can have a Captain America and White Wolf show, that could be the sequel, because they said that this was going to continue, but they never announced a season 2 yet.
Right. True enough. All right. Well, hey, there we go. Next episode, of course, will drop. It'll be the final to this season and perhaps the whole show. We'll definitely see.
And then what? Nothing until Loki?
Nothing until Loki, which comes out in June.
Are we getting a Star Wars show in between?
Wait, isn't that the new cartoon? The ones about I can't think of it. Yeah, the Bad Batch.
Yeah, which I'm I'll watch it, but I'm not super stoked for. They were cool in the last Clone Wars season, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be good. I'll watch it. I'm just not super excited. Well, speaking about being excited, let's go ahead and get into some Omega level nerd news here. So much goings on in the X-Men world, as we talked about it last week. Unfortunately, it was, not raving reviews, seeing as Hickman will no longer be on the main X-Men title come this summer after the Hellfire Gala.
Can we get you in a new argument about Hickman now after all this crap?
Well,
you guys have to have a debate too after this.
Well, are you referring to the debate that I had with 8-Bit Ray on Superhero Spin? Okay. Well, the debate there was Hickman.
About that.
Yeah. Well, you're the one that masterminded it, sir.
I did. I forgot. I forget my puppet master ways sometimes. I stir shit. That's all.
Just shit and forgetting about it. Look at you.
That's what I do.
So that debate was, is Hickman a good writer? And Hickman is a good writer. Okay? There's no questioning. Hell, the last X-Men that we just read, that was awesome. With, the conclusion to the Children in the Vault.
Yeah, it only took 20 issues to come back to a storyline that he started.
But
that's not a bad thing, though. That's like Chris Claremont would do stuff like that all the time.
The problem with Hickman is he started a bunch of those threads and has paid off like 2 of them.
Yeah.
So, just really seems disinterested in this time. And I even remember back after House of X and Powers of 10 concluded and we got into the Dawn of X, I remember Hickman tweeting like, hey guys, I know a lot of you don't want me on the X-Men anymore, and believe me, I'm trying to get fired every day. He actually tweeted that. So now I'm starting to think, oh, I think you weren't joking. I think, so that's my problem with Hickman, is he seemed to have been really fired up about it, and then I could be wrong, because he is going to continue. Yeah, big time, it seems. He is going to continue with his own book that has yet to be named.
Mm-hmm.
So he's obviously going to get to finish whatever his story is.
Hey, maybe you get a Colossus run. There you go. That makes you happy?
Well, it would, but it's not. It's probably not going to happen. But there is going to be a new X-Men
What if it was
team.
and Colossus had the biggest dick of all the mutants?
I'm not that concerned about.
Doesn't he, though? Wouldn't Colossus, isn't that part of the power? Sorry.
If it ain't the biggest, it's the hardest.
There you go. Now that's in the bag. I'm just not so concerned about the metallic phallus of
my bad.
Of one Colossus. But I am interested to see who the new X-Men team is, and that's what this whole Hellfire Gala was supposed to be about. We knew it was going to be Cyclops and Marvel Girl, and then they let people vote for one of the members. Polaris won the vote, much to the chagrin of some people on Twitter.
Say she killed the vote, wasn't it? Every time I kept turning around, everybody, that's all I see people talking about is they wanted her.
Well, because she's an interesting character, obviously daughter of Magneto. But with that said, that's kind of been her character, is the daughter of Magneto.
Now this is
And
a time for her to shine and actually be
Right.
somebody.
Now they did go ahead and revealed everybody else, which kind of makes some people wonder why read the Hellfire Gala. I don't know, but here we go.
Right.
The new roster will be, like I said, Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Polaris was voted in, Sunfire, which is interesting. So we've got some rather, aged X-Men here. Rogue.
Fake Wolverine.
It's not fake Wolverine. Stop that shit. It's Wolverine, Laura Kinney Wolverine. Even Logan Wolverine himself acknowledged that she is also the Wolverine. Come on now. And Sync, who...
I'm trying to be woke. Gender bending everything else. I'm sorry, I couldn't even do it for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Couldn't even do it.
People get a lot of clicks off that shit.
I guess.
Yeah. Go woke, go broke. But no, Laura Kinney's an awesome character. She's been around for a while, so she has, and she didn't start off as like, hey, I'm the new Wolverine, okay? It wasn't
that
like
was
that
recent,
at all.
wasn't it?
Fairly, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he was dead. So she took over the mantle. And
Fair
then
point.
when he came back to life, he's like, yeah, you're Wolverine too, kid. So there you go, Wolverine. But so there you go. So when they do the X relaunch that no one wants, that's going to be the new team. Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Sunfire, Rogue, Laura Kinney, Wolverine, Sync, and Polaris. Jerry Dugan's going to write that one with Pepe Larraz. Pepe Larraz is a pretty awesome artist. I got no problem with Jerry Dugan. People kind of talk down about him, but I think he's pretty good.
Eric was excited when I said his name. He's like, no, he's an awesome freaking writer.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Marauders.
I haven't read any of his work, so.
He's doing Marauders, and it's interesting. I kept it in my pull list. Our next bit, and I kind of want to hear, especially from JD here. So they're going to do, and this is from comicbookmovie.com, who actually was my last source as well. So they're going to do a World War She-Hulk for the Avengers. JD, I know you're a longtime comic fan. Obviously, you don't go to the shop, but you have the DC Unlimited and stuff like that. But what do you think about Marvel? Like, I don't know. I hate them revisiting.
I do too.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of taking properties or events that worked well. Geez, this is almost 15 years ago now.
Yeah.
And trying to do something else with it, like you're just cashing in on what. It feels to me like, hey, remember when our books were better and our books were selling a lot more? We'll do it again. And I don't know. I didn't like this. You talked about Hickman earlier. I stopped reading Marvel on the whole during it. I think it was Infinity, when it was kind of like his crescendo on Avengers, when he decided he was going to do his own version of Age of Apocalypse. Because I'm like, I didn't like Age of Apocalypse all that much the first time. Why do I want to get back in on this again? Like, I had like 10 different Marvel subscriptions going, and now everything I was reading was getting like tossed aside for this story that I wasn't interested in the first place. So this is kind of what got me checked out. And this is like, God, 6-7 years ago. So I've been out for a while. I didn't like the idea of Civil War 2. Right.
Yeah.
Even when I heard that, I'm like, I'm not interested. You did a Civil War, it wasn't that good. And like, why are we revisiting it? Like, it'd be the same thing if they brought back Inferno 2. Like, do something new. Like, I mean, like, if you had this idea for She-Hulk, fine. I have no problem with it. Well, my issue is like your uncreative branding. And this has kind of been like the C.B. Cebulski tenureship as the EIC at Marvel. It's just been a whole lot of, hey, remember when? Hey, remember when? At least when Quesada was running things, they were doing things differently. Like, they were trying to push the line forward. And I don't feel like we're pushing the line forward anymore. And again, I'm not reading, so it's not really fair for me to make these grand judgments. I get that. But the way you're marketing, it feels like you're marketing to guys like me that aren't reading anymore. They're saying, hey, come back. We'll do exactly what you remembered.
Yeah.
And that just, as a consumer, as a reader, as a creative person, I'm not into it. I'm not excited.
You're not wrong, because this isn't the only one that they're doing. They're also doing the Clone Saga with Miles Morales.
I've read 3 of those. Like, I mean, like I read the Clone Saga. I read the Ultimate Clone Saga. You know, it just, I don't know, like nostalgia for the 90s is just a bizarre thing to me. And like, it's not like people look, I have a soft spot for the Clone Saga because I was the right age. But like, looking back, like there's no reason to like fetishize books that people hated. Right, that aren't that after they finished the Clone Saga, Marvel went so hard in the other direction to get you to forget about it, and I just don't. Why does Miles need a Clone Saga? Why can't Miles do his own thing? Like, why are we doing this? Like, I don't get it. I don't like this marketing direction. Like, and this is part I got asked the other, like I did an interview before I got out with you guys, and someone said, hey, if Marvel, because I told them the story when I was at DC and I was there for a year without ever doing anything. Right, like I workshopped them a full year before I had a book come out, and then, you know, the publisher killed it. And I was like, I don't want to ever do anything with corporate comics again. I don't want to have my life and my career tied into one person's decision. And he asked me, he's like, would you ever want to go back to it? I was like, no, man, I don't, because you're not in control of the stories you're telling. Like, you're serving so many masters, especially now that they're owned by these big corporations. Like, at least 10 years ago, they were like 12, 15 years ago, the Marvel and DC were just Marvel and DC. Like, Warner didn't give a shit about DC Comics. It was an IP farm they left alone. Like, and now that Disney owns Marvel and that Warner pays attention to what DC's doing, it's so much worse. I mean, I don't like, and these aren't the writers, they aren't pitching this. It's coming from editorial above. It's like, hey, you know, Civil War was great in 2006. Let's do another one.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It doesn't, we'll put it this way. It's having the opposite effect. Like when you were talking about Hickman stuff to me a year ago, I'm like, oh, this sounds, maybe I should start reading X-Men again. Everything you've just said about She-Hulk makes me not want to pick up Avengers or She-Hulk.
Yeah. Yep,
Hey,
absolutely.
Dave, remember when you were I think it was last week when you were talking about how manga keeps outselling? That's exactly why. Like, that is the key example. They just run with their shit. They don't have people dipping their hands in it.
Well, here's another reason why too, is the business reason, is because for the last 2 decades plus, comics has invested heavily into the shops, into selling what works in the shops. So it becomes this incestuous business where you're not getting new readers in because all you're doing is super serving the people that are already there, who are dwindling. Right, so you super serve this percentage of fans. It's getting smaller and smaller because they're aging out and because shops are closing across the country. Right, so you're having a twofold effect. You're not getting more new fans in because you have this impenetrable level of continuity to anybody that hasn't been involved in this stuff. And then on top of it, you're having less and less opportunity for them to buy stuff. So like, it's become super hard to get invested in comics for these reasons. Right. If you weren't reading in the early 2000s or in the 90s, like, you're not really thought, like, you know, they're not really serving toward you. At least what DC's trying to do now is they're having these digital exclusive titles that really aren't tied into continuity, that are trying to find different readers, because like, continuity is really cool when you're into it, but you have to give people like an easy way to get in.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because with these companies are like, the more years go on, the deeper the continuity gets. And again, I'm a big DC fan, but I mean, like, when I try to explain things to people, I can see their eyes glazing over, and it's a bad thing. Like, I thought, so like, well, how come there's 2 Superman? Like, well, because Superboy Prime punched the walls of reality, therefore creating, and then you look like an idiot when you explain things to people. And I'm sure Jeff Johns thought that was a great idea at the time, but it's stupid when you explain it to, like,
I hate
we're nerds.
Man's name pop up on stuff that like is halfway good, because that, like, Jeff Johns is not Kevin Feige.
No, and he would like to be very badly.
He would definitely like to be, but I don't think I've ever really truly, except for like where I'm at in Flash and in Arrow, I don't think I've ever truly enjoyed anything that he's spearheaded.
When he was when I was
Blackest Day.
Blackest Night was fun. But again, if you're super in, that's really good. If you know who Black Hand is and you know who Necron is, you're all in. But if you've never read that shit before and you're like, who's that guy? And then you got to like go to Wikipedia and look all this stuff up. I mean, like, there's like this two-edged sword. Like, yeah, continuity really benefits the people that have been there, but if like, it's really hard to get people involved. And that was the problem with the Green Lantern movie. As I was sat there, I'm like, this is Jeff Johns. Like, Jeff Johns' fingerprints were all over the place in that thing. Like, if you didn't know, you have no idea. I remember watching the end of the movie, you see Sinestro put on the yellow ring, and I'm like, well, you just screwed over possibly 3 more movies worth of stories to get a dumb moment that only that maybe a sixth of the people in this theater understand. Maybe that's being, and it just we shoot ourselves in the foot by making this stuff so difficult. And Kevin Feige has figured it out. You know how to make things.
And even with the Green Lantern movie, they did all that shit backwards, like
way backwards.
And I don't and the if I read anything, if I read any fucking comic, ready? Sinestro Wars. I read that shit. And I was like, give me more. And then I stopped working at that Target. And then the buddy of mine who was bringing me the books, like he, you know, I didn't see him anymore, but read Sinestro Wars. And I was like, this has got me asking questions. This has got me getting involved. So then the movie came out and I'm like, oh, you didn't fuck this whole thing up. Okay.
Yeah.
And I read
a fan.
Yeah, I read everything. Like at that point, this is like 2011, from about like 05 to 11, Green Lantern was my favorite book. Like I was super involved. I was reading everything. Like I was a walking encyclopedia. And I walked out of that movie just so deflated because I had friends that were living in New Orleans that were working on it and were like, man, this is going to be a good movie. You're going to like this thing. And I got excited. The trailer made me go, oh, I don't know. I was like, no, it's going to be good. Trust me. The special effects aren't finished yet. I'm like, oh, okay. So they released unfinished special effects. That's a good idea. And I left the movie going, they fucked it up. I remember Jeff Johns did an interview where he goes, oh, we got 5 more movies planned based on this. I'm like, why don't you worry about making this one good?
Yep.
Why don't we try doing this one movie, make it really good, and then get us excited before you start planning out sequels.
And then even though it was bad, make the other fucking movies. Don't have it be dependent on what you did last time when you fucked it up on purpose. Like, oh my God, I can't stand this dude.
Yeah. I'm with you.
That's why when it comes to Snyder, like I get it. You can see his frustration in the Snyder cut.
Oh, for sure.
You can see and feel the frustration that he had with Warner Brothers, Jeff Johns, all that stuff. And that's why I don't want to work with him anymore. It basically, the Snyder cut is if J100 ever got a corporate movie. It ain't coming out, and then I'm gonna have a 6-hour version of the shit I was about to do. It's gonna be better than anything they came up with.
Warner there's this great Super Void Cinemas, this awesome YouTube page where they do these like really they're decent documentaries on all these like movies that never got made. And there's like a 6-volume set on Superman. I love Superman, so I wanted to watch all these making of why this movie never got made. And after watching 6 of these in a row, all I could think is Warner Brothers has spent damn near $1 billion in movies that never saw the light of day. I mean, this is just their corporate culture. It's just they just waste money and when we're in it, no, we're out. They hire the wrong people, back the wrong projects, and they have way more of a track record of fuck ups than they do successes. and it's unfortunate because that bleeds over into their comic book business too. And I'm not saying because they passed on me and they probably made the right choice in that, but I mean like that's just the corporate culture there.
Well, you mentioned, DC and frustration. Well, speaking of that, Dominic Purcell leaves Legend of Tomorrow. And what's kind of funny is originally he got rid of this tweet, but he basically tweeted, like the corporation, they don't care, so screw them. He redacted that and came out and was like, oh, you guys are being too serious, but blah, blah, blah. So I watched the first seasons of Legends of Tomorrow. He played Rory, Heatwave. Yeah, Heatwave. He was cool with his Prison Break buddy, Captain Cold. But outside of that, I was really even surprised that he stayed on after the King Cold actor left. But he's now gone too, and yeah.
Warner Media, man. Mm-hmm. Nobody comes out there saying great things about them.
Yeah.
Except for Chris Nolan, who they throw insane amounts of money to make movies that confuse people.
Yeah. Outside of that, this is something you don't see every day. Looking at IGN here, so. The Predator screenwriters are suing to win back the franchise rights from Disney. They've got some big cojones to go up
I didn't know
against
this
Disney.
was a law that you could do. Was it like after 35 years, the original writers can technically get their rights back to the property?
It depends, right? So every time, like when you buy it, because they sold the property to them, right? They had their the Predator is based on their character, right? So they created it, so they have.
They sold it to Fox, right?
They sold it to Fox, but those rights have to be renewed. That's why they constantly make these movies, because if they don't, the rights revert, right? So there has to be a movie in development.
Oh, similar to the Fox's shitty movies to not go back to Marvel.
Bingo. Exactly. When the movies aren't in development for X amount of time, goes back. Like when Daredevil went back to Marvel a few years ago because they didn't have anything, they weren't doing anything with them, right? So they have to be doing something with them. And Disney spent a lot of money, so of course they see money in Predator. I don't think this is going to work because they're going to have something in development. They're going to try, but I mean, like you're talking about going against Disney.
I think they already have it in development now, don't they?
Yeah, so they're screwed. They're not going to be able. They could fight it. They'll spend some money. They'll probably get a payout. Is what's probably going to happen. Because what are those guys going to do? Right? They're going to try to sell it to New Line or something like that. I mean, they'll be able to. Well, it's like people will come to them because it's Predator, but I don't see them. Sony. Yeah, they can.
Tyler Perry.
They can. I mean, in theory they could do whatever, but they're not gonna. It's not gonna work. Like they've already got something in development. If something's in development, they're gonna be able to retain those rights. Their problem is they didn't sell to Disney. They sold to 20th Century Fox. The 20th Century Fox bought Disney bought 20th Century Fox, so you accrue all those contracts with it. Good luck. You're fighting Disney lawyers. I mean, like I respect it, but when you do screenplays, you're selling that stuff. Like this isn't like writing a book. Like if I write one of my books and someone buys that book, those are still my characters. You still got to go through me with stuff. When it comes to a screenplay,
I mean,
it's much different.
Unless they try to spin it in some sort of weird way of, hey, we didn't sell our character to this company, we sold it to this company, of some sort of loophole of, hey, you guys can't really use it, even though you own it, or, some sort of thing, I could see possibly.
Usually when stuff like this happens, guys are looking for payouts. It's been 35 years. I don't recognize the name, so I'm not sure what else they've written. I'm sure they want another payout or a chance to write
Disney money.
The Thomas brothers.
Because why wouldn't you? And this is the issue with creator rights, right? Is that you sell this stuff to these corporations, and I just heard an interview with Ed Brubaker where he was talking about that he made more money as a SAG actor with a bit part in The Winter Soldier than he made off actually creating The Winter Soldier. Right, because there's not a lot of money for people who create things for these big corporations. You get paid your page rate. If you're lucky, they'll throw you a bone for something else. But that's pretty much it. Like you're making other people rich.
That is the truth. And Alan, you mentioned something here, and it does state that there is a copyright law where is it? We're after 35 years. Let's see, where is it here? Copyright law's termination provision states that after roughly 35 years for newer works, the original authors of a property may cancel transfers and end a studio's hold on a franchise. But in the end, with our American court system, who has the better lawyers is... Do you know who spent more money to fight copyright laws and change copyright laws than anyone else? Walt Disney Corporation. Right. Because they don't want to see Mickey Mouse go into public domain. Right. Yeah. So they fight the good fight, quote unquote, against copyright law every day. So these are
looking here. So they've wrote a bunch of Predator shorts. They wrote the script for the Predator PlayStation game. Outside of that, Behind Enemy Lines and Aliens versus Predator.
That was not an alright movie.
And
good luck.
Side note. I don't think I mentioned this to you guys, but on my birthday, I met John T. Sweeney.
Where?
And he at ABC Tavern on West 25th. Apparently, he's been stuck in Cleveland because of COVID, and he gets fucking obliterated at ABC Tavern and yells at everybody. And I was there on my birthday with my girlfriend and everything, and we were just chilling, and he was just like, I don't know, your guys' chemistry. I just want to have a conversation with you guys. And the bartender was like, is he like being nice to you? I'm like, no, this is great. So he said he was John Sweeney, and I was like, John Sweeney. I didn't know that. John Sweeney. And he was like, Hellboy. And I said, oh my fucking God, John T. Sweeney. Yeah, it's funny you say Alien vs. Predator because he's got heavy involvement, if not the producer of that too. And I got his phone number.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, you
Let's try and get him on the
ask
show.
him on a date?
Yep. Sure the
Like,
fuck
hey,
am. You serious? I'm like, one
you want to
degree
go out for
separated from
dinner?
a goddamn movie industry. Fuck yeah. Never mind. I was gonna say something.
Our last news item here comes from MSN.com, and it could have even really been the main topic. So I don't know, we might be talking about this a while, maybe not. I don't know, but I am excited, flabbergasted, just shocked. So Amazon's Lord of the Rings series is going to cost $465 million for the first season. Now, JD, you actually worked in television, so I'm a layman here. Sounds like a lot to me. What say you? $465 million for one season.
It's a lot of money, man. Amazon made a ton. Do you know how much money Jeff Bezos made during this pandemic?
Sure.
They're fine. It's a lot of money in a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, because
when you think about it, it's how many episodes?
They haven't announced yet. It's just a full season. That's all he said.
So let's say 10. It's 10 movies. Like, you figure 2 hours, like if it's a 3-hour movie, you're talking like a $200 million movie. I mean, like, okay, that's kind of in line with what movies cost. So makes sense. I would have a really hard time writing that check if it was me.
Yeah, because that's like at the end of Game of Thrones type money.
Oh, no.
That's more.
Game
That's
of
way
Thrones,
more.
Mandalorian, they're about 15 mil per episode. So like
Even the
JD's
later
saying,
episodes, I think some of the later Game of Thrones were 28-30 million apiece.
that's just it says roughly 15 million per, but yeah, that's still,
There's
it's
gonna be
like
a lot of walking trees.
Well, it's
I'm
like
not
everybody that hated the ending to Game of Thrones got mad and went out and somehow got Jeff Bezos to go along with this because they're gonna shit on Game of Thrones with an awesome Lord of the Rings series. At least that's what I'm hoping.
I'm okay with that. I can live with that. I don't with developing content for these streaming platforms, I still haven't figured out how you've made your money back with it. I mean, like, it's easier when you're getting your $10 a month from everybody or whatever, but it seems hard to me to be able, and like, I know they can have like network engagement and they can say this has been streamed this many times. Merchandise is huge too. That's true. I forgot about merchandise.
And what is Amazon good with?
Yeah.
You don't got to tell me, man. They're like, most of my money comes from Amazon.
Not
so I
shipping
get
my
that.
desk.
Right.
I got a pair of shoes that I'm waiting for like a week and a half. And it's starting to make me mad. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a lot of money. I hope it's good.
That's a good play though, because when you talk about the Lord of the Rings world, right? Like Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, Return of the King, that all happens in about a 20-year period. J.R. Tolkien literally wrote thousands of years of history for this world. So when you talk about streaming services that need content, Lord of the Rings can give you a lot of content. I mean, as long as the family's willing to let you do it, which, I'm sure Amazon can make that happen.
I was like, it's Amazon.
They like, they like money.
Hey,
what are they doing? Are they starting?
I'm giving you my left testicle in order for this to be made. So
I'm
I think
all
we
good
are
as long as I get some
fairness
hot
here.
elves or something.
Some hot elves. Oh, you'll know they'll have that.
Are
Absolutely.
Where are they starting? Are they just doing like Fellowship of the Ring and following that, or they're doing a prequel?
They're gonna introduce the Testicleans.
Testicleans,
They are ball-like characters that look like Jeff Bezos.
This will take.
That's nuts.
This will take place thousands of years before the events of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So
interesting.
So it's pretty much just all new content, so they can do pretty much whatever.
Is it new content, or is this based on stuff Tolkien's done?
I mean, Tolkien built the world. Well, the books themselves, again, are just a little tiny sliver of the world that Tolkien built. As far as actual stories, I mean, I tried to get through the Silmarillion. It was very dry. I mean, it literally was like an instruction book, to Middle Earth. There's just a lot to go off of. A lot of characters, languages that he made up. I mean, you can really do anything.
I'll watch it.
Oh, I mean, and especially to hear the price that they're going to spend on it. I mean, this is going to be high quality stuff. Yeah, for sure.
And they canceled their MMO, so that's probably where they got the extra money from.
That MMO's been around for a while.
No, Amazon was creating a new one that was supposed to release next year. And they canceled it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because everything.
I've heard a really good thing about their PS2 game.
Yeah, people love that game, the Two Towers game. It was okay. I don't quite get the romance for it, but it was okay.
The Warner Brother ones, the ones that came out the last couple years, those are freaking sweet. Open world.
Oh, right, yeah. Although I can't remember their names either. I've played those. They are cool. But nonetheless, yeah, this is going to be high quality stuff. I'm going to be excited. There's a lot of cool, big, we all know Shelob, giant spider, but there's Shelob's mom out there in this world. There's some really awesome shit that was made. It was just never put into a story. And so hopefully we get to see that. All right. And lastly, with the video game world here, we always like to touch upon that anytime we get some good news here. Well, I don't know how good it is, depending on how you like Fortnite or their developer. GameSpot is reporting that Sony invests $200 million more into the Fortnite developer Epic to create the metaverse. So I guess these shared continuities ideas, it's coming to.
It's just getting ridiculous.
Metaverse gonna be?
So the Travis Scott kind of concert thing is gonna be in
right.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
DC is doing a whole comic line of where Batman is fighting Fortnite's people. They're doing some weird shit with Fortnite.
Well, have you seen all the characters that you can get in Fortnite now?
And shit. There's so many.
Aquaman.
My kids were playing it the other day, and she's jumping up and down. She's like, "Ha! I got a solo win in squads," and I'm like, "What are all these characters now?" She's like, "Look at this one and look at that one," and I shot that one. And I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, my son was showing me yesterday. He's he's got Thor, he's got Storm, he's got Deadpool, he's got a really cool Iron Man looking one, but then he's also got Aquaman. They just throw shit at the wall at that game.
Kratos is in there, aliens and predators.
But I guess everyone's willing to do business with them. Cool. Everybody's because wanting a piece of Fortnite.
Kids.
Yeah,
all the kids play it, and the kids are like, "Mom, I need this skin," because it's a free game. So everybody's playing it, but the skins are where you get your money. So it's here's my characters, make them buy the skins or whatever. And that's how everybody's getting their money, or the battle passes where you get the freaking skins and shit. Or, it's not just the skins either, because, you have the stickers that you can place down while you're playing. You have the different skins for the guns. You have the book bags. You have the gliders. You have it's all cosmetic. It doesn't help you in any form or fashion, but it looks nice.
Yeah, I know. My 12-year-old is currently like wanting some money for that. And I'm like, I'm really just, you're spending a lot of money on nothing. Skins. I don't know. I
Mine
don't
just
get it.
asked me for Xbox money to get money in GTA, and I'm like, dude, just play the game.
Yeah, no, I play that game a lot. I've got a lot of cool shit in that game, and I've never once bought a shark card.
Yeah, and plus if you link it to your Prime account, like for every login or monthly, you get like millions of dollars in Grand Theft Auto.
Didn't know that. I should play that game more.
You just have to log in to get it.
Can I give him my money so he shuts up?
No. The most you could do is like set yourself up well and then help him, but you can't, trade money. Unfortunately.
Can I just have it on me and him kill me? Don't you get money that way?
Technically, yeah.
Not a lot, though. Not a lot.
Not a lot.
All right, well, that's all our Omega level news items for you this week. So we are approaching the end of our somewhat tumultuous live stream. We'll work out the kinks. But before we go, all the kinks, work them out. Before we go, though, JD, thank you so much, sir, for being a part of our humble little podcast here. And just, let us know where to go so we can find you and find your Kickstarter and make sure we all support it.
Yeah, I love coming on the show. I love when you come on our show, Don. Dave and John are here, but I'll extend an invitation to everybody. Anybody wants to come on and talk about some stuff. So come on by if anybody ever wants to come on our turf. It'd be great to have you guys. Best place to find me, I'm on Twitter all the time, JD_Oliva. A Kickstarter's launching this week, Books Jericho Volume 5, Sundown. Fun, action-packed horror thriller novels. It's going to be a good campaign. I'm good looking forward to selling some books. It's kind of what I do.
Yeah. Make sure you go follow him at JD Oliva on the Twitters there. I'm sure he'll have the Kickstarter link there. And definitely.
Gonna annoy a lot of people over the next month.
Well, so far we have a good track record. So we've had you on, and your last Kickstarter was 400% or so? 500%. So
yeah, you rocked it out.
We'll take that as a notch on our belt. And then Rich Dueck was also here and did awesome on his. So hope we continue that there for you, as well as all the other great podcasts you're going to go on to. So good luck with that, sir.
Thank you for giving myself and Rich, guys like independent creators, a chance to talk about this stuff, because it gives us a chance to get out there. Like, it's such a pay-for-play world in advertising, and to be honest, I would much rather come on and have conversations with people and try to get them interested in me as a person before trying to sell them something that I do. So doing this for me, doing this for Rich, doing this for all the guys that are creators. Thank you.
Yeah,
I promise. I got your books. I will get through them soon.
I'm gonna let you know something. I got your money. I'm okay.
Right. No, the check cleared. We're good.
Right. Yeah, we're good. We're fine. Read them at your own speed. But there's another one coming out, so I'm not saying nothing. But
and John, unfortunately, I know you don't got much going on with the videos or the streaming, sir. But where can we find you?
You can find me here on Sundays on Omega Level Nerds. I'm strongly considering at least doing book club a little differently and have it be like videos that are chapters instead of the streams, because I like streaming, but I'm not allowed to. So I might maybe get back into that, but being a normie the last month or so has been like reinvigorating. I feel like I'm somewhat human again. Because I don't know, it's just very, whenever I've gone on Twitter for like 3 seconds, I'm like, holy shit, let me get the fuck up. No, we ain't doing this. And I mean, even when it comes on Facebook is more like newsy. My timeline is so like I'm just like looking at things and I'm just like,
Mine is just a bunch of hoes complaining about being hoes.
You know what? I wish that was mine. I actually, you know what? Y'all were joking with me about
Dude,
my
that's my
Twitter.
Twitter.
I think
What?
that's what I need my Twitter to be. Just naked OnlyFans chicks just run around doing weirdo stuff on camera.
I got some
Because
of that on Facebook too, because I got a couple guys that's all they share.
no, but yeah, okay. Well, we need to like link up or something. I need to see
You guys
that.
gotta
instead
connect
of
after this.
dead people, and I don't know. It's just a lot. And I personally, I'm just trying to get where I need to be. So you can find me here on Sundays. I'm cool with that. I can't wait for it. You know what I mean? So it's the my way of I guess getting back into the tech world or whatever. So I'm cool with just being here with you guys, and you guys make it worthwhile. So I don't need to be anywhere else at the moment. So I'm here Sundays. And it's Nerd 30, baby. Yeah.
That's right. Hell yeah. All right. And Volsker, don't think you've been streaming or nothing lately, but where can we find you?
Yeah, I really haven't been doing too much. I mean, you guys can always check out some of my older videos over on YouTube. Usually, either basically on Twitter at Volsker, just sharing a bunch of shit, looking people's Kickstarters, stuff like that, showing pictures of things that I picked up. And then after that, just pretty much just here. You guys getting hot and nerdy on the Omega Level Nerds?
All right. Giggity, giggity. All right. And Jelly, when you're not 3D printing cool stuff, where can we find you?
So you can find me live on Twitch Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at Jelly Rose. I forgot this Saturday to do my blog, but you can find my casual overviews and blog reviews on jellyrose.blogspot.com because we overslept and didn't go to bowling this week.
Bad.
Like we woke up and it was like, Hubs, we gotta go. The kids are gonna be late. And he's like, can I just sleep more? And I'm like, okay, I'm rolling back over to you.
Such a fight.
So I forgot to do it this week. But I kind of skipped over my YouTube stuff too because I've been doing stuff for my Twitch or it's not a Twitch team, it's a stream team. We kind of take everybody. Yeah. But I've been doing a lot of stuff for them, which I do have a very special stream coming up on Friday the 23rd at 8 p.m. We are doing a VR stream on the Twitch's team channel, which I'm hosting at twitch.tv/crimsonco team. I had it backwards. But 4 of us are playing The Forest in VR, which I'm probably going to scream and crawl on the ground in fetal position, and that's probably going to be the end of that. But, at least for the 5 minutes until I start screaming.
Do you still do that thing where people could just scare the shit out of you in your stream? Like
the scare button?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have that in my channel points. So I do have it limited. So every 20 minutes it can be done. But it's down in the little channel points and everyone scares the crap out of me. I think I do have donations set up as well. So like you could just send a bunch of dollars and scare the shit out of me too. But then you can find me on my socials at J3LLI3 on like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and probably I'm missing something else, but somebody already stole just plain Jelly Rose because she a bitch. But
oh man,
I'm gonna copyright my name and take it back. I need like $200 to do that, but
that seems cheap, actually.
Yeah, I think it's like $200 to copyright something. And then you can go on and request your username. Like, hey, I have this copyright written. Give me that back. And they'll force, you to get that username.
Yeah. Huh.
I looked it up because I was mad that she took it on everything.
You're bitter.
So when something new comes, I will make an account just to take it before this chick because it's the same chick that does it.
Also, now you're in a war.
I got it first.
That's hilarious.
I wonder if she ever, like, in the one she can't get the regular name, if she does it with the flip with the threes.
I don't know.
It would be hilarious.
I think that there should be a celebrity KY jelly boxing match. And whoever wins. I'm sorry.
I don't know. She looks like a little stick. I'd probably hit her and she'd
KD's like, what?
Into flames.
I'm just enjoying the show.
Yeah, no, we always.
You know what? Listen.
My brothers wrestled. I was, taught how to box. I can do jujitsu. Like, bring it on.
I will pay money.
I am well-rounded.
You want it?
Last 15 minutes always gets a bit loopy here at the Omega Level Nerds. You can guarantee that. All right. Well, good stuff. Hey, make sure and go visit those guys. As for me, my personal Twitter is at dsquare72. You can find comic book reviews that I've done on superheroespeak.com, although I've been kind of slow on them this last class, kicking my butt a little bit. But I'm still doing them, so make sure and check out that website. Check out Superhero Speak podcast, where, you'll have JD there. But what I really need everyone to do is we still need a lot more love on our Omega Level Nerds Twitter. So please, please, please go to @OmegaLevelNerds on Twitter. There's a link to our YouTube there as well. So we need some more subscribers so we can customize our URL and just be that much cooler. I would very much appreciate that, guys. Well, until next time, hopefully with a little less problems. We'll see you next week. Peace and love. And we'll talk to you again soon. Have a good night.